Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. My name is Kwabena. Welcome. Uh, it is fun. It is joyous, at least to share a bit of our persuasions, to share a bit of our discoveries. The things that we are learning every day. It is a fact that if you are from our continent, if you are from our country, Ghana, if you're an African, and go beyond it, if you're a black person, there is a lot of information that is spread around the world that we are, trying to find out, and we need this kind of information, this kind of enlightenment, even more than food and more than a lot of the other things that the Africans are paying attention to. Because when there is an enlightenment, when people have been enlightened, when there is knowledge, when there is wisdom, when there is understanding, it will show in how the people behave and how they do their things. And you don't need to be told that there is a lot that we have to understand as a people. We have to understand, as a group who live on this continent. And I want to talk a little bit about something that, may seem controversial, but let's see. I want to talk about job addiction. Job addiction. And if you look at the history over the last 100 years or 150 years or so, there's been a lot of industrialization. Companies have sprung up all around the world. But if you look at our continent, if you look at a country, for instance, I don't know what the historians will say, but based on what I see, we are yet to go through big industrial transformation. And yet, when you look at mass employment, jobs, the kind of conditioning that this kind of education that we have has brought to us. By the time that you complete some of these schools, you've been so much cultured, conditioned to look for job, and your prestige and everything is to find a job. And most often, if they send you to school and you complete and you can't find a job, you're almost deemed as useless. And it's a condition. It's a condition. It has now become an addiction. And if people who are living in industrialized countries have the options, because there are a lot of jobs. If you look at the retail market, for instance, they have so many malls. If you look at manufacturing, they have so many manufacturing plants. Most of these countries. If you look at technology, every sector of commerce, you see that they have a lot. You bring them to Ghana, you bring them to Nigeria, you bring them to Kenya. The numbers are limited. And we seem to have a higher percentage of the youth, which we are sending to school, whether they complete the JHS, or they complete the SHS, or they complete the university, or the polytechnics. We have conditioned a lot of them to come out. And the only addiction for me is when they are looking for a job. Somebody should help us to understand that if you're producing a lot of these guys from the university, I don't know how many graduates in Nigeria is producing every year, maybe 1 million or so. If you look at Ghana, we probably producing maybe 300,000 or something like that. Now, we have conditioned, we were part actually, when we were in school, it's the same thing. We were even choosing the courses based on the prospects. So if somebody was doing a course that people were having jobs, he thought that it was better than the other courses that they thought people will not have jobs. So um, the addiction is there. Even those who have found jobs, you can see that they are always looking for a better place of employment, and they call them offer. They have better offer, so they leave the previous one and go and look for another one that they have just increased the salary by maybe 100 cities or 200 cities, or maybe they give them a car or they give them accommodation. And so if you talk about job, if you talk about employment, many people understand the language. Many people virtually have that at heart. I don't think there's any problem with that. The only challenge is that it's going to be choked, and it's choked already. And if you look at the wave that has been, the things that are happening in our country at the moment, there's a lot of people being sent home because all kind of things are happening in the finance sector, in all kind of things. Companies have been run and have been run, into ditches, and a lot of people have been affected. And the worry is coming from the job addiction. Not so much that they've been sent home, but the fact that people's identity, people's definition of living, people's essence have been linked to job. And so if they don't have a job, everything is. If you completed school with your friend and he had a job before you see that there was difference. He almost thought that he was very much successful. And if you didn't have a job, you were seen as not successful at all. You were seen as somebody, prayers, they will offer prayers for you. You go to churches everywhere, they are praying for people to have jobs. And if you get up in the morning and you even had a dream, you had a concept, and you were thinking of how to develop that dream, your family, your friends, people around you, your former teachers will call you to say that, why did you go to school to come and stay at home? Why are you not going to find a job? And it's not like the jobs are readily there, that you are lazy and you don't want to find. So there is a huge job, just like somebody who is addicted to alcohol, They don't seem like they can live without it, because it's an addiction. If they don't have it, they must have it. And if they have it, they are never happy. They are always looking for a better one. And there is people can do as much as they know. And usually the information that you have, most people, maybe 98% of us, only process the information that is common to everybody. And whether it's liberating or whether it's self-crippling, most of us will not question it, because that's what we grew up in, or that's what we grew up into. So job addiction is a heavy thing, and especially it's among the people who have a lot of education, because really the kind of education that the world has is really just to go and look for a job. And if you don't have one, then nobody can help you. You can't even help yourself. For you to even think of starting something and doing something by yourself, or starting a company, you virtually almost always would have to be a crazy person who thinks squarely, completely opposite what the education, the school put in you. And so it's a complex thing, and we seem to think that the structure of the economy supports a lot of employment. The truth is that when we were little boys, they were talking of graduate unemployment. When we were in primary school, they were talking of that. Now we are no more in primary school. After 20 years, they are still talking of the same thing. It has probably become a major issue than when we were little, because the population now has probably doubled or quadrupled. And so the job addiction is heavy. We have not changed the narratives. We have not changed the psyche of our people in reference to the reality. Because the fact is that if you advertise any job, just do a test, place a job anywhere on the internet, or place it in the Daily Graphic or something like that, and see how many people will send you CVs. Because almost all of us are thinking that somebody somewhere is a magician creating the jobs, because the facts don't support it. The facts don't support it. How many people are creating jobs? How many people we have sent to school are creating jobs? How many jobs are being created by governments in our country or on our continent? Yet we are producing a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with producing people to be able to read, write, and even go to college or university or things like that. The problem is that you should educate them and let them understand that the education, the certificate, the degree is not the next step to the degree, is not job. The next step to the degree is to do something that you find doing. And you don't go to school coming to look for job. You go to school so that you'll be equipped to live your dreams. And that very few of us really understand it. So we live, we are pumped or we are pushed into a society and we look for comfort all the time. And that has crippled a lot of people. A lot of people have been, conditioned to live in frustration. You can meet people who have finished college, universities, and looking for job, and for 5 years, they're still looking for job. Some of them 10 years, they're still looking for job. Even if they have one, they don't show any commitment to it. They don't even regard those as jobs. They're still looking for a dream job. And I wonder who are those blessed by God to be, creating those things. So I'm talking about job addiction. If you don't break it, you will never live life according to your own terms. If you have one, it's good. But school prepares us to look for job. Academic education has been so much highly rated in our country. If I talk of academic education, I'm talking of the education that you have. When you finish, you just have book knowledge. There is no skill that people can easily pay you for. That kind of education has been so much overrated. So all of us were sent there. Go and do engineering, go and do law, go and do banking and finance, go and do nursing, those kind of things. They push all of us to go to school. And you go and spend 4 years in school, you finish, nobody will give you any technical skill, anything that you can produce with education, any product or process that can be sold. So the other ones who go to do the cooking, the tailoring, the plumbing, the masons or the electricians, they are not in our society. They are not the ones that we think are better off. In any case, we think that those are the ones that were, didn't have head. So even if your parents, there are a lot of parents who look at their children and say that this one, also because this is the kind of conditioning that we have had. Yet I don't think, even though it's better than not having education at all, but if you look at the structure of economy, a lot of our people must be given skill that they can easily, if you know how to plaster, if you know how to sew some clothing, and you're not lazy, you have a skill that people can easily pay for. Now, if you go to school and you finish sociology or psychology or something of those, it is tough. Let's and yet those are the people that we are producing a lot. Marketing, all those kind of things. And those are the ones who are so much addicted to the employment because there's no skill that they can easily sell anyway. So job addiction is heavy, and it's going to keep on going because our population is doubling. Our population is going to go on for for years. And so this is what I am talking about. And industrialization has not happened to us. So the jobs that we are going to create are not going to be the ones that can commensurate with the number of people that we are producing out of our schools. So you must have that as a fact. And so if you are coming out of school, or if you enter the school, or if you put your child through this, there should be a way that you may be able to reduce the addiction and the infatuation and the kind of affection and the pride that we have with having a job. We should be able to help them to come out of the school, the SHS, the JHS, the university, not be so much addicted and being so much prideful with the job. Because a little is understood so far as job is concerned and living, especially financial success. I don't think that they meet that much. For what to eat and drink and maybe pay rent, yes. But when it comes to massive wealth creation, financial success, they have little, very much little, to do with job. And that must be explained to every one of us. Even the courses that we do in the college, that would you choose the courses based on the kind of job that you're going to do, those have very little to do with huge financial success, wealth creation. They are very few. If you look at it, if you pick any country, the first 5% of the population who are very much wealthy, they're not wealthy because they had a job. They are not even wealthy because they chose a particular course or the level of the education. Those are facts. The rest, maybe below the 90%, can fight over that. They are the ones fighting over, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a politician, fighting for those. Because they have to struggle all their life looking for money. But any society, whether you pick this country, or you pick Nigeria, or you pick India, or you pick China, the very top 5%, the most wealthy, they didn't get there because they look for job. They didn't get there because they look for job for money, or they didn't get there because they chose the right kind of course. No. The path to massive wealth creation in any country is different from this, because most of this education and most of this job thinking, job addiction, were given to us out of the kind of education structure that they have given us. And yet, for you to create massive wealth beyond this, you need a thinking, you need a mindset that is almost always squarely opposite to the kind of education that they are giving us. So industrialization is what is going to create employment in our country. Is not yet industrialized. Our continent is not yet industrialized. So if you train yourself to be addicted in terms of job, and once you have a job, you don't even show commitment. Most of these guys who are employed in most places have no commitment at all. They work there. They are looking for, I remember there was a time that I know these guys were working in a certain company. They would even lie to their friends and their parents, the kind of companies that they were working with, because they wanted to tell people, about big companies that are known and getting affiliated and saying that I work with this company. Because for most people who are job addicted, it's not so much the progress or the skill or the technical experience or the training or the leadership skill or the management skill or the technical skills that they can get out of the job. It's more of, most people, it's more of the prestige, and it's more of the money that they can get out of it. And job really is not payment. Salary is not really how to create wealth. It can lift you out of basic penury. It can lift you out of lack, not getting anything to eat, which is good, but it cannot push you into massive wealth, because what it takes to create a massive wealth, it requires a lot of things which the job as it's being done mainly in our country, may not necessarily have. So most people are not committed to the job that they even work. They are always looking for job, but the ones that they have, they don't even value it. You meet a lot of people, the words that they talk, the things that they say about the people that they work with will amaze you. Almost everybody complains about where they work. And when you meet them, the first thing that they are talking about are the bad things that the place that they work, have. And they are always looking for a better opportunity, better offer somewhere. It's amazing. It's amazing. Job addiction will make you live in comfort. And once you live in comfort, you cannot live your dreams. Once you live in comfort, you live a life that is risk averse. The job will condition most like the guys who work in the bank, for instance. If they find it's so much difficult for them to find anything else to do. Why? Because the job that you're doing there is everything is frame. So there are processes that you just have to follow. And if you don't follow them, you're fired. And so you work there for 20 years. You don't challenge yourself in any bit. Then the next 20 years, after 20 years, they say go home, and you have no skill. You have nothing that you can do by yourself, because you were just addicted to the job, and you pride yourself with the fact that I have this I'm working with. So my name is Kwabena. I'm talking about job addiction, and many people, our country, are addicted to job. They think that our country is developed. Most people think that our country is like maybe America or China or something like that. They don't think that our employment opportunities are highly limited. If you look at the industries that look around, and just searching the economy, and look at the areas that are employing people in big numbers. Just and look at the skills that are needed in these areas. You go to some economies, technology is employing a whole lot of people. Retail is employing a whole lot of people. There's so much, a lot of things that our economy is mainly what? A Greek, if you go to the farm, the guy is using hoe and cutlass. He cannot employ anybody. They're not using machines. If you go to the person who is processing the tomato, maybe just a small processing plant, he can employ a lot of people. You go to the market, the retail woman, just a small shop somewhere, she can employ just one or two. You go to some places, the retail, they have maybe 200, 300 people in the shop. Big one. And so our economy is growing, and yet we have produced a generation that is addicted hugely to job, because the content of the education that they gave us was really not for us. They don't reflect the realities on the ground in terms of the level of our economy, in terms of the size of economy, in terms of even the growth level of economy. They give us information, they give us training as if this economy is a grown-up economy, with a lot of factories, a lot of opportunities in terms of jobs. They are not really so. They are not really so. So if you have never been through it, you go and, you get fired at the place that you work and go and look for another job. And you understand what I'm saying. So if you're really addicted to job and you don't give any consideration at all to trying to do anything for yourself and by yourself, trying to start anything, they are pushing people at home. So you may have to at least consider that the addiction must be at least handled. And you should be able to open your mind to also see that there are other opportunities beyond just looking for job and talking only about employment. If you ever meet a friend somewhere, the first question is, Charlie, where you day? Where do you work? It's always like that. Where you day? As if all of us can get a place to work, a place to job. It's amazing. It's almost, it's even inconceivable for them to even think that you can start something by yourself. And if you ever start something, they really think that, you are not busy. You don't know what you're doing. I remember there was somebody who really told us that, how can you go to school and you say that this is what you want to do? Because of job addiction. Because for them, the pride is in working with some of these multinationals, where you have your suit and tie. Suit and tie. Suit and tie. So there is a lot of convictions, there's a lot of mindset, there's a lot of conditioning that we have to help the Africans, especially the Ghanaians, to break. Because we are cocky. A lot of us are cocky in our ignorance. We're very much cocky in our ignorance. We don't have data to support a lot of the convictions that we have. We pride ourselves about things that we have no idea, the realities on the ground. So job addiction, break it. Even if you have a job, you should be working knowing that you want to make a contribution to help us to develop our country. Not just only work for your selfish gain. If somebody in a developed market thinks like, okay, if I don't get any offer there, I just jump to another place, because they don't have the problems that we are having. Our country has a lot of problems. So if you happen to have a job somewhere, you don't just go to work thinking of only the salary and yourself. You go there thinking of making a contribution for this business to grow, so that they can also become another big company or another big business that can employ a lot of people like me. That is the psyche that I think our people must have. So once you get an opportunity to work somewhere, you give some level of allegiance to the place that they have given you an offer to work. You were at home, you were not doing anything. Somebody gives you a place to work, And the next 3, 4, 5 months, you are picking a fight against those people. And a lot of them are like that. It is coming from a weak, uninformed disposition, because most of us were not trained, with civilization. We are still yet finding it. So when you get an opportunity to work in any place, think of the masses, the many people that we are producing out of colleges, and who are going to be like you, going to look for a place to work. And look at the contribution, the growth that you can bring from wherever that you are working. Maybe you're working in a microfinance company. Maybe you're teaching in the schools that somebody has started. Maybe you're working in a factory that somebody has started. Maybe you're working in a shop that somebody has started. Maybe you're working as a finance person in a company somebody has begun. Work there with the thinking that we have to grow these industries. Kenyan companies that are growing, maybe they start with 5 people. Because you join them, the next 3 years, they start to employ maybe 30, 40, 50 people. Because of the contribution that you're making. You don't just go to work with most of these Kenyan companies, thinking only of your salary and your comfort. Because that's how we are going to grow to absorb most of these people that you are producing out of the university. But sadly, majority of us will go to work in most of these companies and act as if we are in a developed country. If you don't know, let me tell you, most of these people who start businesses, the odds are against them. Majority of the businesses that we start here are businesses that are started even anywhere in the world. In the 10th year, just about 1% to 2% will still be in business. Majority of them will be out of business. Stuck. A lot of things are stuck against us. High interest rate. It's there. You're not borrowing for growth at 5%. 30, 40%. They used to. Some of the microfinance were taking 10% every month. And these are the realities that the people who even dare to start a business that employ you go through. Some of them may be paying salaries with loans. And the business may not even be making any profit at all. There are a lot of connections. There are a lot of deals for people to even get offers and projects. And so if somebody goes through a lot of stress to get a project, to get a business, and you happen to be there, make it a commitment to tell yourself that once I'm here, I'm going to work to make sure that at least we succeed. Because the odds are against them. We have a workforce, the Kenyans, we also have a workforce that is lazy. We have a workforce that is dreaming. You employ the average Ghanaian boy. It's not there for the work to grow. It's there for the salary. You eventually have to tell them everything. If you're lucky, they pick the training. Just about the time that you start to get any benefit from them, they tell you that they have had an offer, they are going somewhere. If you talk to any business person who is trying to do anything good, these are the realities that they're going to tell you. Because people are job. They cannot think beyond the opportunities that people are creating for them. Because when you're job addicted, or when you are in the job addiction, you only think of your interests. You only think of your comfort. You only think of that which makes you comfortable. You're only thinking of the salary that is coming. You're only thinking of your offer, your livelihood, your marriage, your children's school fees. That's all that you think about. Sometimes they can even go to the workplace. They don't work. And yet, the owner of the business must find a way to pay them. And woe betide you if you happen to have any disagreement with them and they have any delicate information on you. And if they have power to use that information against you, they will not think twice. They will annihilate you. They will fight you. So we have a challenge as a community, as a people. And it's not that easy to tell the Ghanaian that what he knows may not necessarily be a good thing and may not be working. So you just try it, employ any young boy who has just completed university finishes his national service. Interview 100. I can tell you that only 1 to 3 have what you're looking for. Not only with the technical skills, but even the persona, the disposition, the character to work efficiently to get results, and to be honest and credible, to be committed to the work and focus, to be in a position where you can say something and they can do it. It's so dangerous. It's so confusing in our country. And yet they are the ones looking for jobs everywhere. They are the ones looking for jobs everywhere. And so if you happen to work with a Ghanaian company, and you happen to know somebody who is working, who has built a business, yes, they may have their mistakes, they may have their own wrong decisions and choices, they may have their biases and their weaknesses. We understand that. But at least they are making effort to create employment. And it takes a lot of guts for anybody to start a business and say, I want to create employment. Most of the people you see doing businesses, most of them don't have any money. Sometimes the people that they are paying, they even have something to eat at the end of the month. People can struggle for 5 years with the idea, with the commitment, with the strength and pride that they want to build a business. And sometimes most businesses don't even work out. And by the time that they find out the business is not working out, they are already in big trouble. So the job addiction is created a population, of our people who are not deep in thinking, who are not thoughtful with their choices and decisions, who are only addicted and committed to that which benefits them, who are very much weak in making any sacrifices to achieving anything that will help grow any business, any company that they work with, and even the growth of our country. They think and act as if our country were developed, and we are not. So there will be a lot of sacrifices from a whole generation of workforce who think of, I'm going to work so that we can make a difference in the development of our country, more than I'm just going to work to get a salary. And most of them will even go to work and they sit back. And the thing is that some of them, even if you introduce your network to them, the next time they're going behind you to take things that you will find out later, and you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked the kind of things that people can do, the kind of things that people can say just because you gave them a job. It's a thinking, because they're addicted to only job. So they're always looking for job. They're always connecting. Is there any job anywhere? And when they go there, they don't job too. The reason they should really be, it should rather not be job hunting. It should be salary hunting. I'm looking for salary. That's why we understand that you came there for money, but not to job. Because most of them come, they don't job anyway. They come to create a lot of confusion. And so most business people have a lot of trouble, a lot of burden, a lot of difficulties trying to put these things into perspective. And I think that a major problem is the idea of job addiction. They think only in terms of job, and they find the identity in the fact that they have completed school and they have a place that they can call, this is where I work, and they have so much hooked to, title and position than being effective and productive. And a lot of these things are coming from the complexities of our history, from colonization, from our own cultural upbringing. There is a lot, because the people who colonize us, they told us that if they send you to school, you're better than the one who didn't go to school. They told us that. So the moment I speak English, I think that I'm more intelligent than the one who cannot speak English. So the moment I can work and look like the guys who colonize us, it means that I'm better off. Which necessarily is not. It's not necessarily true. Because getting a job and doing that job over 10 years and creating financial freedom or financial prosperity has very little to do with the English, the job, and the certificate. They have a lot to do with you having your own financial goals, having the discipline and the commitment to pursue those goals, having the required technical or vocational skill, having ability to do something for yourself, you know, being comfortable to, at least get an employable skill right from the day one than just getting a certificate like the way they are doing to us. Unfortunately, the people who even went to the technical school and vocational school with direct employable skill are even looking for places to be employed. So these are the difficulties that we have. And those of us who finish with certificate who cannot do anything, we still think that we are better off than the mason. We still think that we are better off than the carpenter. We still think that we are better off than the one who can cook in a restaurant or the one who can sew some clothes and get revenue in the next day. Something has to be done about our education. Something has to be done about our training. Something has to be done about our culture. Something has to be done. Or we will continue to produce a people who have understanding in sporty positions. They are spread and scattered. We are not able to connect and join them to produce results that will help us to develop as a people and as a country and even as a continent. So job addiction, if you are one of those, of course, automatically, if you're born here, you'll be addicted. If you're born here, you'll be addicted because most people will never read any book. Most people will never read any book anyway. And most people will never develop themselves beyond the certificate that they had in school. So all the information that they have is what? It's job. When you're in school, what did they tell you about? Look for a job. If you meet 100 graduates, they're all looking for a job anyway. If they paste any advert anywhere and they say that they are employing, you see the sense of urgency that people show. And our choices and our decisions only reflect what has been put in us. The culture, that's what has been put in us. And so once the culture has, has been responsible for this kind of thinking, and you are not also preparing yourself to question and counteract this cultural influence, your obvious choices will be, the other ones that everybody else is doing. You will not be different. Your thinking will not be different. Your decisions will not be different. As a matter of fact, you can always predict how people will behave out of this culture. You can always predict that. It gets to a point you are not shocked of the behavior of our people because it's job addiction. And so you finish university, you finish college, your parents will push you to go and look for a job, which does not exist. If anybody's telling you that they are there, it means you have to humble yourself to go and take anything anyway. And for me, anything that gives you money and it's not illegal is a place that you can start. But at least go to job, go to work with the thinking that you're making a contribution than just being proud of, I have a job here. And so when you meet the girls, you pull out your card. Meanwhile, you are not very effective at where you work. They tell you to come to 8, you go to work 9. You have to close 4, you close 3:30. You don't like the place. And if you work like that, you can never make any good progress with your life. You can never. So it's just job you're looking for. But you don't have your own goals defined to make any critical progress so far as our country is concerned, or so far as your own personal development and living on purpose and living life beyond just the comfort of job or the comfort of salary is concerned. Because the fact is that after all said and done, if you just live for salary, you will not make much progress and it will not be fulfilling. So if you look at anybody, if you meet anybody who is that much comfortable with the job, that they are not making any contribution, It's because they don't have anywhere that they are looking up to. They're not going anywhere. They're not ambitious. They're very much comfortable with little. They don't even see the need for us to progress as a country. So job addiction is very much rampant, and it's among those we send to school. And that's why we are calling our uncle in the political party. You're calling everybody to connect you somewhere to get a job. And I don't know how many jobs we are creating anyway. So you may want to look at reducing the addiction and being so much over enthusiastic. There are so many people that when you talk about job, you get them. But when you talk about doing something for yourself, they say no. I don't have the capital. It takes a lot of money to start a business. Those are the people who come up with a lot of arguments like that. I don't know anybody. I don't have any connection. My brother is not a minister, so he can't give me any contract. It's because your whole mind is obsessed with just looking for a job. And if you see anybody with a job, you so much respect them. And if you see anybody trying to do something for themselves, say, this guy is worrying himself. But that guy who is worrying himself, after 20 years, will be the one who will be creating more jobs and who will be the one creating more opportunities for people. So, yes, look for a job, but be open-minded and look at the reality on the ground and see the fact that you're not creating a lot of employment like that. So you need people like you need people like me to start to think in a radical form. Start to think in a radical form. And you can turn anything into business, so far as you're not going to be caught by the law. Anything. It can be selling ice water, it can be selling kinky, it can be farming, it can be computers that you can work on. Anything that people are ready to pay for, you can. And you should not confuse your degree, your certificate, your education with creating prosperity. They are not the same. It can get you a job, but it cannot get you prosperity. And so if your reason of trying to create wealth and influence is to just get a job, most people will never. Majority, maybe just 1%, will be able to create any meaningful, significant wealth out of just a job. You must have a good plan beyond just looking for a job and you changing jobs. There are a lot of people who are changing jobs every 2 months. 3 months they are looking for a job. The other day he's working with Barclays Bank. The next day he's working with GT Bank. The next day he's working with UT Bank. The next day he's working with another bank somewhere. Or he's teaching in a school. The next minute it changes because the salary was 1,000. Now this one is offering them 1,050. So they move. And when they are working, they don't even show any kind of commitment. And the math, the talking, it's amazing. The bad things they say about the places that they work. It's amazing. So my name is Kwabena. You can do better. So regenerate the way you think. Regenerate the way you think. If you have any job somewhere, be seriously committed to it. And stop the lying, stop the cheating. And pay attention to how you can make significant contribution for that business to grow, to become something. And if you don't have a job, it's not a crime. What should worry you is not having anything to do so far as your aspirations of life is concerned. If you have been writing an application for years and nobody is calling you, you probably should look at employing yourself. Start something. Start wearing chicken or goat, or start something. Start. What can you start? And you should never feel compared. You should never feel diminished when you compare yourself with your friend with some big position in any work. Never. You should rather be concerned that are you doing something worthwhile with your life? Did you have a dream, and what was that dream for? What is it that you think you can make any significant contribution to society? I think that is what the worry should be. If you don't know what you're doing with your life, that's a major concern. It's not just, I'm not getting a job. You're not getting a job? Maybe start one. Call your friend. Say that let's start something. Don't go there and weep. It's like, when you're addicted to job and the psyche, it's like somebody who is addicted to cocaine. If they don't have the cocaine, they become hysterical, they become disturbed, they become discouraged, they become hypersensitive, hyperactive. Why? Because they cannot get the substance to bring their nerves down. So if you are the person who you meet your friends and every day you are talking about, Charlie, this guy is working here, he's taking home a lot of salary, and this other one is working here, he's taking maybe 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Another one. Those are all your conversations. Every conversation that you have is about job, 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 and somebody's salary and which company that they're working with. I don't like people like that. I'm very much uncomfortable when I meet people and they are talking like that. I just get, no, I see more to life than that. And even if you happen to work in those areas, just see it's just a livelihood that you're living, and be more prideful of the fact that gives you a platform to make contribution to the progress of our country. Then it's making sense. But if it's just about the salary that they're paying you, that's nothing. That does not mean much, because they are not paying you a million anyway. And you're not going to be a millionaire if you depend on that kind of salary anyway. So my name is Kwabena and talking about job addiction. And my argument is that most people in our country have been conditioned to look for a job. And so if you don't have one, the respect is low. And if you live contrary to that persuasion, they think that you are not serious. The family, the teacher, the church, every one of them has made a contribution for us to think that if you finish or complete school and you get a job, then it's like continuation. And the thing is that you don't go to school to come and look for a job. It's a fallacy. You go to school to develop your talent, to get the required proper education, so that when you can live, to make a contribution to life. That's why when people find, some people have stopped major schools to pursue their dreams, because the essence of the school was to equip them with information, and they found what they were doing. So why waste the time? Why not go and pursue their dreams? So the school is the job is not a continuation of school. School is supposed to equip you. Then beyond that, you go and follow your dreams and build something with your life. That's the essence. But the Africans must be helped a lot with knowledge that is productive, knowledge that is getting results. Because we've been hooked up to knowledge that is not working. It's not working. For the last 10 years, you probably have produced over 2 million graduates. And go and look at the job market. Where are they? That's why a lot of them would have no other option but to just look and find another place to go because of the job addiction. And those who travel to it, they all travel to go and look for job. It's job addiction. They're not traveling, even though they are traveling to go and look for money. They're not traveling to go and start businesses and companies and to compete in those economies. How many Africans do you see live in any country who are competing in the top company levels, entrepreneurship level? They're creating wealth. No, when they go, the people that you go to meet, they will not even allow you to go and think. They will just push you to go and look for a job. And if you have any nice little job somewhere, everybody becomes envious. So if the culture we come from can make you very much limited in terms of thinking. So most of our people, once they move out of here to another country, they're looking for a job. That's the only option available. They're not looking at, okay, which of the industries can we also start? Which of the industries can we also start here? And dare to try. Even if we fail, we would have at least tried. It's not like that, because our addiction is what? It's the job. So, Kwasiba, and that's it. But if Kwasi thinks that he wants to go and develop the software that he can build a big business around, no. They will say that no, yes, America, you can do that here. Go and look for a job. Go look for a job. And mainly academic training has not helped us. because we come out with very little skill to make any impactful commercial decisions and choices in terms of what we can create ourselves, what we can market and monetize ourselves. It's all coming from that kind of education. All through our lives, every time there is a change in some format of education. It used to be JHS, then they will change it to something else, then what? JSS, JSS. That's where we went. Before that, it was Form 5 and those. Then later we found out that they changed it to JHS, something. Now they're changing it to another thing. They just use us as, as a sample lab. They're just using us to do research, people's lives, like that. And every time they're changing the content, and the industry is not changing. So we will continue to produce the people who will be addicted. But maybe if you start to get different kind of information, people will start to think. People will start to think and question. And no other group should be able to think and question more than the youth. The youth, those who are around 30, 35, you should start to think and ask questions. Ask questions beyond the school. Ask questions. And never be afraid to dare to dream. All countries that are producing a lot of successful people, they think opposite what the culture thinks. Go and look. All the top billionaires around any in the world and in any country, the proper ones, go and see how they think. They almost always think opposite what the whole society was thinking or thinks. So the same. Start to think opposite, because if it's working, we will not be here. So once it's not working, it means that we have an opportunity to think opposite what is not working. And if you think opposite of what is not working, it's likely that it will work. Likely that you may get some kind of solutions and you may be able to do something, different from what you became to meet. So think opposite. Think opposite. Do something. Never feel frustrated because you're completed school and you don't have anything. Engage yourself. Find a dream. Work towards it. Find a dream. Find something to do with your hands. And never sit back and worry that all your friends have been employed and you are not. It's just a job addiction. It's not going to change anything after 20 years. I can tell you. It's a fact. It is a fact. If you pursue your dream and everybody else is pursuing their jobs, especially if it's only for the salary, after 20 years, between you and them, if you ever pursue your dream, you'll be way ahead of everybody. That I can guarantee you. And it doesn't matter which country. It doesn't matter whether you live in Ghana or you live in any country. It doesn't matter. If you had a dream and you pursue it, those who are pursuing just the job and pride themselves in it, you leave them. And you continue to pursue your dream and build something. Find a product that you can develop. Find a business that you can build. Find a cause that you can build something around to change and improve lives. And let's see what happens in the next 20 years. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you. And you may share this to some of your friends, especially those who have just completed school or those who are yet to go to school. Because this is one of the things that we can do to encourage people. Because the strength of a man is in his thought, how he thinks about himself, how he thinks about the world. Those things, nothing. If anybody wants to enslave you, they change the information that comes to you. If they can change, alter the information that comes to you about how you think about yourself and the world around you, they can control you. And the same way, if you want to liberate anybody, freedom comes first with proper strength of thinking. Once you can get proper psyche, proper way of thinking, that's about half of the job. Because then you start to put the puzzle, you start to put things rightly, because you have the right information. So thank you for watching.